I recall backpacking to 10 nations in the Far East, returning to Israel a little more than a year ago, coming home after a period of soul-searching, finding my place in God's universe. Connecting through the eye of the camera, I suddenly discovered the meaning of Judaism. I photographed mostly children and old people. I connected with the old people walking alongside them at the foot of a mountain range, respectfully listening to their take on life while thinking of Jewish values such as honoring the elderly and courtesy precedes the Torah. Children from all over the world, the smile, the innocence, recalling what it was like to be a child when everything excites you, and everything seems so simple. To laugh and to play with them. The meaning of family values, Judaism, continuity, the value of building a family. It's all really one, connecting the past, the elderly, and dreaming of the future, children, family, and a place where one can combine the past and the future, the synagogue. 2 weeks in the month of May, during which 293 qassam rockets were fired on the town of Sderot, have served to shake this connection I had so strongly believed there was in my homeland, Israel. The Jewish state that is supposed to protect and defend its citizens, enabling them to lead normal everyday lives. That is the right of any people in any decent country. To feel secure in a place of worship, the gathering place of entire families who come on Sabbath to pray. The house of the God of Israel in the state of Israel, in a part of Israel where both international and Israeli law recognize as part of the borders of the state of Israel. This place too was hit, and hit hard. On May 16th, 2007, the 28th of the month of Iyar, the educational institutions celebrated 40 years of the liberation of Jerusalem and Israel's victory in the Six-Day War. But not in Sderot. The schools here were closed that day because on the previous night, one of the schools was hit by a qassam rocket fired from Gaza. It is as if Sderot is not part of Israel. A short while ago, children from Smadar Kindergarten in Sderot were asked to write down their wishes on a piece of paper and put them in their small kotel, their private western wall, a special wall of wishes built inside their kindergarten. What does a 5-year-old Israeli child wish for? A bicycle? A doll? A game? In Sderot, the only wish that 5-year-old children have is that the red alert sirens will stop and that there will be no more qassam rockets raining on their town. 20 qassam rockets fired upon the town of Sderot in one night. A night with screaming ambulances and police cars tearing through the streets, panic-stricken civilians running to and fro. The serious injuries sustained by a mother and a little boy, evacuating trauma-stricken civilians to the hospital. A night of crying children while their petrified parents desperately try to protect them. A night when mothers faint because they can't find their children in the 15 seconds before the rocket falls. A night where people in Sderot cried out to their mayor, "How much more?" Here comes another rocket! Everyone lean against the wall! Everyone begins to run, people in uniform and carrying guns, clinging to a wall, sharing the feeling of utter helplessness, like ducks during hunting season. A few seconds go by and then you hear a second explosion. Running from the falling rocket, and again the scene repeats itself all over again. Those 2 weeks in May, Every night between 8 to 9 o'clock at night, rockets were fired from Gaza into the town of Sderot, directly hitting homes, shops, and public buildings. The rockets were accurately timed so they would hit during primetime television when hundreds of thousands of Israelis are glued to the evening news on television. The broadcasters fall right into the hands of the terrorists, who succeed in high broadcasting ratings, while they terrorize an entire nation using the same tactics as the Hezbollah in Lebanon. My daily routine during those 2 weeks was to get up early and go see the families whose homes were hit the previous night, getting there even before the tax appraiser, seeing how the families are coping and documenting what I see. Seeing 2 synagogues hit one day after another. Oil Yitzchak Synagogue, 11:30 p.m. Only half an hour earlier, there were still 300 people celebrating in the synagogue in honor of a new Torah scroll that was written in the memory of one of the congregants who had passed away. At 11:30, only the extended family, completely with children and small babies, were still in the synagogue when the qassam rocket hit. 5 minutes later, I was there with my video camera. The site was out of a third-world disaster zone. Women and children crying hysterically, old women fainting, a holy place of worship heavily damaged. I had never witnessed up close such devastation. 3 years as a soldier in a combat unit had not prepared me for what I had seen that night. Yet, the media dryly summed it up by saying that 1 person was wounded and the few people who suffered from shock were evacuated to the hospital. I closely followed an 85-year-old man who came to see his synagogue minutes after the attack. I attempt to capture his expression. He says that he has been living in Sderot for the past 50 years and had been going to that synagogue for the past 35 years. I carry on my routine of visiting first thing in the morning the scene of the qassam hit. I arrive once again to the damaged synagogue together with the shamash, the synagogue caretaker who carries the keys. We go in together to see the damage, and then another red alert goes off. Some of the people who experienced the miracle of the night before ran for cover once again. I look at the trauma-stricken faces of strong men in their 30s and 40s, and the rabbi of the synagogue leaning against the wall and reading psalms out loud. And in the second synagogue, seeing a boy run for cover, hiding alongside the Holy Ark. To experience with the families red alert, thinking what they have been through the night before when they were hit. Seeing their expressions, the looks on their faces, the understanding that it's not possible to say it won't happen to me. Sderot as a ghost town. 65% of the residents evacuate the town either privately or in subsidized buses. The threatening words of El Zadin El Qassam, the military arm of the Hamas, ring in my ears. We will not stop bombing the Zionist settlement Sderot until the last of the residents leave. While at the same time, the state's refusal to provide minimum protection for its citizens in Sderot, where 25 out of the 57 public shelters are without electricity and water, and over 2,000 apartments have no protected area at all. What can one expect? An example of the devastating damage happening every day in Sderot can be concluded from the words of the Madda spokesman. Last night our ambulance was called by a father of a 6-year-old girl. 2 hours after the qassam had hit, the girl was not responding and was in a state of total shock. The rocket had hit 600 feet from her bedroom, and the loud boom had woken her up. She was sitting up in her bed, shaking all over. Her eyes were completely terror-stricken. Her father knows that he couldn't promise to protect her and that she was safe now, and that this was never going to happen again. You stand looking at these people whose most basic security has been damaged, the feeling of being safe in one's own home, and you have no words to comfort them.
גדול